It's been a year of damning darkness in this sorry situation, and the human soul cannot condone a year in isolation. We try to fight the dead of night and reach for elevation, 'cause a 99% survival rate should be cause for celebration. Instead, we're forced to tread these trials with tepid trepidation, with hurdles thrown in daily just to add to complication. They'll silence anything too close to genuine documentation, so we can't use our common sense to see the correlation. They bend and fold with coercive control and mind manipulation, so you stay at home and live through your phones and take your vaccination. The one that doesn't slow the spread or aid eradication, and instead of saving lives seems to aid extermination. While we watch the rapid rise of death among our population, we are barred from bringing this debate to light in conversation. We can't assemble with free speech for online consultation, so all hail Bill Gates and all his mates held high in adoration. With figures and stats inflated and the truth now gone awry, it's all covered up in public with a bunch of tyrannical lies. We sat back and watched it happen, all to our demise, 'cause now they're targeting our loved ones and ruining our lives. The media shows disapproval for all pandemic deniers, and harsh punishments are handed out for all those who won't comply. They force fear and panic onto those who have closed eyes and alienate the rest of us who still choose to defy. They plant their grubby fingers into all the important pies, creating exponential growth of wealth for them that sit up high. And poverty spreads throughout our homes just like a wild brush fire, devouring all our happiness but uniting our desires. To stop draconian laws that we didn't authorize, the ones that see our freedoms and human rights set to expire, that do not permit you to go outside or for you to socialize. But if we stood together, we could watch them cower as we rise. They've plagued us with fear and propagandist simulations. Let it be our turn to watch them shake these allegations. They've watched us brittly break apart in utter desperation and proceeded to pick apart our lives with ease of violation. They've left us here in limbo, in a state of degradation, and we were all marked from the start by their private preparations. This is why we should unify and encourage a better vibration, a frequency of peace and love, of tolerance and mediation. Ignore the constant misdirections and pokes of provocation. Resist the hatred they promote for their own justification. We need the right minds with righteous delegation to help achieve these simple dreams and honest aspirations. An alliance built on freedom, not suppressive subjugation. We need to heal woeful wounds inflicted upon our nations and use our knowledge wisely for the world's preservation so we can actually heal humanity in time for the next generation. Because with selfless notions and clever innovations, we can shine a light to personify what needs illumination. We are the true masters of our own imaginations, and we were meant to be curators of our own self-creation. Instead, we're captivated by conflict that's riddled our civilization and been ushered into classes set to breed our humiliation. We've become controlled by terror, disease, and crooked capitalization. We're now knee-deep in debt and must have a reformation. We could easily achieve this with some positive motivation and a collective consciousness within these crippled congregations. We have to find a way to work together in cooperation, to fight for our freedoms and attain our liberation, and start to smash the shackles of our slave state occupation and overcome the oppressiveness of this fake woke dramatization. We have to show the world a new kind of bold inspiration, so let's lead ourselves to light rather than dwell in this damnation. We need to calibrate our brains to mold a new mentality, one based on fundamental principles of respect and morality. It's in our nature to want to nurture, regardless of geniality, so let's enrich each other's lives with peace and spirituality. 'Cause we can be as one and still have individuality. Ignore the hype that they promote surrounding race wars and sexuality, and the moans from the media of recession and craved depravity, because the rich are getting richer while we're forced beyond frugality. The bankers, corporate leaders, and politicians head this tactically, but they're all thieving bastards just avoiding all legalities, while we trip up on red tape just to fall into formality when we should be making plans with precision and practicality. Stop letting them make mistakes that always end in our fatalities, and start to retrain our brains with common sense and rationality. We need to be facing up to the fact that actually, in reality, we are all living in a perpetual state of duality. We just want to live peacefully and without preconditions, and for everyone to prosper and see their dreams come to fruition. We could make this happen if we use our intuition, but we need to do it now or we'll be lost in their transition. 'Cause fat cats full of greed won't let us bleed without permission, and the lies we've been force-fed have fattened us all into submission. They think we're deaf, blind, and dumb, but don't fall for this suspicion, duping us with deceit to work for the mortician, while they plaster their propaganda in every single news edition. The elites continue in secret with their mad covert missions to take control of our lives and climb in their positions. So tune into the frequency mentioned previously if you hear this transmission, and let's start making moves and planning and plotting for our sedition. Instead of watching on in horror at the same old repetitions, let's start achieving some of our own humanitarian ambitions, because we the people have a right to live and die by our own decisions. This pandemic has suddenly turned into a franchise, with designer face masks and fruity fragrances to sanitize. We're putting these on our children when studies show this isn't wise, and now there's no more smiling, we've become dehumanized. It's funny how all the small businesses were being penalised, yet big corporations had their doors open for you to buy. They're pushing a new gene therapy as a vaccine in disguise, and they're telling everyone it's safe when this is clearly a pack of lies. They're letting pregnant women take it, even though unborn babies have died, and they're making tons of money, regardless of what transpires. Some are having side effects that have left them paralysed. And even if you've had your shot, you still have to stay inside. Continue social distancing, 'cause you might save a life. Never mind the ones who couldn't manage through the strife, and took things into their own hands because no one heard their cries. Yet this is still being rolled out to the world without a care for loss of life. If this is just a conspiracy, why are we being censored and chastised? Why are we trusting a government that's clearly corrupt and full of thugs and spies? Why are we not stopping these vaccine passports that will force us all to compromise? And what the hell was Event 201 if COVID-19 was such a surprise?